2. I went the wrong direction. Good afternoon, Internet. It is 12:47 on February 23rd, 2025 in the EST. If you're listening to me, I'm your friend, Chris Kennard, a.k.a. Ham Kavina, the Princess of Port Richmond. The first of her name, long shall she reign. I am joined by a new friend. And you'll have to forgive me. I didn't ask you before we started. Is it Leaf or Leaf?
It is Leaf, like
Leaf.
the river in Scotland.
Oh shit! Come on now. It's 2 a.m. Apple call with 2 a.m. wake up call. Emily, it's so nice to have you. How have you been?
I've been as good as can be expected lately. I'm staying hydrated. I'm drinking a lovely tea right now.
Ooh, cheers.
I'm working on top secret album things. Big things coming. Eyes emoji.
To keep up with all things Emily, I put her website in the description, the doobly doo. Like, favorite that shit, pass it to a friend. You're, like, give her some money. Like, we appreciate you. We are here for one thing and one thing only. Apple Music decided, hey, here's 100 of the best albums of all time. And I said, stop the cap. And so I got with some homies, and I'm like, we can build a better list. We have the technology. And at first, it was going to be me and one other person. And I'm like, nah. And speaking of which, he's right here, live from Africa himself, my baby boy. What's up, dog? Thank you for joining us. And then I'm like, hold on. 2 people can't do this work. You need a lot of cooks in the kitchen to make this gourmet. And so I'm like, I know some folk that I can call. So, like, along with you, I had Taste Destroyer, I had Haystack West. Two of my friends here in the city are like, oh, we want in on this shit. And I'm like, oh, pull up. I have about maybe 2. I see a cat. There's a cat in this dream.
This is Skitty. He's a real menace, and he loves sitting in the studio, knocking everything over, and looking out the window. So I've invited him in to the studio today, because if I don't, then he will slam himself against the door until I do.
You know, I appreciate that kind of energy. Like, maybe all just like ram against the door of our oppressors until it falls flat on their faces. Nah, but like, for real. Yeah, right? Come on now. So like, I reached out, I hit you in the DMs like, yo, Gotti, and I'm like, can I please get some records from you? Can I get some recs? Can I like see the lore of Emily? And you're like, for sure. I got 20. You got 25 records for me?
I actually got 50.
Let's fucking go! Now we're cooking with gas. Speaking of numbers, I figured we'd start with what we've removed from the list, because as you may or may not remember, you are taking 10 off, like the Apple list, and putting in 10 of your 50. But there's a chance that like some of the ones you had your eye on have already been removed. So to anybody who doesn't know what's on the Apple 100 list, it's in the description. Go take a look. But so far, because I took off my 10, but I'm saving my addition to the list at the end of the adventure, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so far, we have taken off Astro World, Kraftwerk, Arctic Monkeys, Erykah Badu, Guns N' Roses, Drake, Kanye, Radiohead, Beyonce, Nas, Stevie Wonder, Taylor Swift, Dr. Dre, The Beatles, The Rolling Stones, Prince, Led Zeppelin, Rihanna, Tupac, The Smiths, Neil Young, Robin, more Beatles, Carole King, Patti Smith, Burial, The Cure, Björk, Joni Mitchell, Outkast, Bob Marley, Kate Bush, Lorde, more Radiohead, Casey Musgraves, Oasis, Talking Heads, Steely Dan, SZA, and The Strokes. And I want to remind you, in case like some of the albums I mentioned that are like, oh darn, I was going to take that off, no I can't. Oh well. If you want to put any of those back in place of one of your own, you have the permission to do so. So far, so good?
That is good. I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
I actually don't think any of my top 10 will collide with that, but just theoretically, if I wanted to, if there was an artist on the top 100, but I disagreed with the album they chose, would it
You
count
can
to, for
flip it.
example, cut off, Highway 61 revisited in favor of Blonde on Blonde, or something to that
You are
effect?
allowed to do that. Yes. That is legal.
Okay, it is legal. Okay.
It's legal.
Um,
It's permissible.
let let me see here.
Yeah, let's take it down. Let's go. What I did the first stream, we just did like
Mhm,
we go 10 albums at a time, take a break. I'd ask some questions. You give us like some of like the juicy details, and we keep it moving.
mhm, mhm. That
Okay.
is
And I don't
that
know
is
anything on this list, so I'm excited.
okay. Where do you want to start? Do you want to remove albums, or do you want me to go through my top albums first?
Go through yours first. We'll like close the show with the removal. And
Okay.
I wanna say for the audience, this is a no particular order. Like, don't be that person. It's like, really? This is ranked above that? Yes, it's her list, damn it.
Second
It's her
question.
list.
Are
Okay.
we going from the bottom up or the top down?
Let's go bottom up.
All right. Yes. And read the actual ordering. I paid far less attention to the ordering as I got down the list. I just
Sure,
at
sure.
some point I was kind of throwing shit on there. But
Yeah.
but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it all relates.
All right. So
Ooh,
to begin my list.
before I let you get
Ah,
started, I'm just gonna because I said this all over the last stream I was on with my good friend Haystack West. Just like this is, I'm gonna say this one time, and if you want to like give me shit in the comments, I'll like boost me in the algorithm, baby. Scandal acknowledged. We are human beings. We are complex. We all didn't wake up and become woke, as it were. So, if you happen to hear a discussion of an artist who, like the devil himself, would spit on, scandal acknowledged. Like, if we really need to like take a moment and like read someone for filth, oh, best believe that we will. But just one last time, because I think I need to like break myself this habit of just saying it all the time, as if like the cancel cops are right outside my door. Scandal acknowledged. Trust me, we all know about these creeps in the scene, and yet a lot of these power players haven't done shit. So it isn't up to us. Just for the record. Carry on, Chris.
all right. To start us off here, my number 50 album that I have listed. I'm already cheating here because this is technically a best of album, but
Okay, it's
it is
fine.
a masterfully sequenced one, and that album is Eponymous by REM.
Interesting. Our first REM mention.
I listen.
It comes with the
This is
territory.
a quick aside slash disclaimer also. Many of these albums will be heavily biased towards the ones I happen to have on my 6 CD changer in my car because I
Really?
listen to them all the time, and this is one of those. But it's a really good album. I mean, because it's a greatest hits album, obviously it is all killer, no filler, and
Mm.
has some of the best examples I think of sort of that early REM sound, that sort of jangle pop from the 80s and 90s, which is something that I really enjoy. So, um, and of course, the sequencing, although I believe it actually is chronologically sequenced from the time the songs on it came out, don't quote me
Mm.
on that. Um, it flows so well. Everything sort of flows so well, and because it is at least nominally chronologically sequenced, you can hear the evolution of the REM sound from their first, well, not technically their first single, but um, their early singles on through this sort of end of the era when the album itself came out,
Mm.
which again also only captured up until 1988. Like, most people know REM for Automatic for the People and all these sort of later albums of the 90s, and this is a really good peek into their sort of first era, I would say, which is just tight sort of jangle pop, with a southern gothic flavor, and that's something I really enjoy.
Before we move on, I just want to like give kudos and ask a question because like it's so rare for like American bands to just like hold it together in like the adult contemporary space for like decades on decades. Like the fact that they kept this shit going to like 2014 is like something to be commended. And like I for one fuck with Uberlin as just like as a single because I got it for free on iTunes. But like as I've gotten older, when you get like if you're like a Zoomer and like all you know of REM is it's the end of the world as we know it. Go fucking digging because as you get older and more jaded, holy shit, you'll understand. My favorite song by them is "Don't Go Back to Rockville" because like
that's a banger.
That's a town where I'm from, and I'm just like I feel just like the misery in that song, and because I remember being in Rockville like dying like inside trying to find like jobs and shit at the local library at pizza parlors that were open far too late. Just like so with bearing that in mind, what is your favorite REM song in general?
I think my favorite REM song is probably Fall on Me, which is, I don't know, it's just it has that quality that just scratches something in your brain. And also I'm compelled to sing along with the background vocals every time, which that's how I know a song is good, is when I'm not singing along to the melody, I'm singing around to like the background vocals and I'm adding new harmonies and that shit. Like, that's how you know I'm into it.
That's fire.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Okay, 49.
Number 49, I have as another beautiful car CD, Ugly Laugh by Crooks and Nannies. Crooks and Nannies is a duo out of Philly, I believe, and they opened for Lucy Dacus in 2022, I think. And I got their CD and I put it in my car, and it's really good.
I definitely have heard of this band because my ex is a huge Lucy Dacus stan, arguably like the foundation of boy genius. Arguably, that new record's going to bang. It's going to feed families. Tell us about Crooks and Nannies.
Sorry?
Tell us about Crooks and Nannies. What's their FFO, if anything?
I don't know exactly. It's like it's pop music, but in sort of the loosest sense. Okay, quick confession. I'm so bad at describing genres.
That's fine.
I am absolutely hopeless at describing genres. But it's like, it's got sort of machine drums, almost like a trap influenced drums on some songs, but then also it has, acoustic guitars on it. And also it has, there are songs with harmonies. There are songs that are very straight ahead. There are songs that are sort of, more fucked up sounding. It's just, it creates a really interesting atmosphere on the album. The storytelling is really good. One of my favorites from the album is "Crying at the Dog Park," which I feel like the title is already so evocative of just the vibe of that. And the two members are also both trans and both singers on alternate, different songs, and that just makes it a really compelling vocal dynamic that we don't hear very often.
I like that. I'm happy to know just like the meme of like indie duo takes on the world is like ever so prevalent when like it boomed in like 2014 with acts like Fantagram, Mister, Colts, Tennis, things of that nature. So very just like a snapshot of like the current just like hipster wave that's like very just like gay and not just like adjacent to like the queer community.
Right. It's like people from actually within the community instead of these sort of culture vulture types coming in and it's appropriating the aesthetic.
Yeah, no one's putting Grammys on like Phoebe Bridgers' head.
This is true.
All right, 48.
48 I have here as Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. It's kind of a
It speaks for itself.
yeah, it's kind of a basic pick. I think most people are probably have heard of the album.
No, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. People have seen the record in stores. People know the album exists. I don't think as many people as we think have heard the album. And like, I don't give a shit how many streams are on like Spotify and shit. It's like, who's actually picking that motherfucker up and spinning that shit on like a turntable? Not as many. Because
that's kind of the thing. Yeah, it's kind of like the type of thing people will throw on because it's like, oh, this is, you know, one of the albums of all time, whatever. And then they won't actually listen to it. They'll just sort of be there and groove along, but not actually engage with the material, I guess. And it's just, you know, again, it speaks for itself. If you actually listen to it, I love an album that has such usage of like the sonic space that you can listen to it for the 50th time and still hear new things in the mix. You know, and that's the kind of thing it is. And that probably will be a recurring theme as I go up the list as well. Just albums that reward listening to them over and over and over again for new details in the songwriting, for new details in the production. Yeah.
One thing I want to say about Daft Punk, because I remember one afternoon before I was supposed to go live with Haystack West, shout out Los, I'm listening to like the One Song podcast, and they're talking about Daft Punk and just like their history as musicians, as artists. Like I believe one of the cats in the duo, one of their fathers was like a French executive who was like super just like passionate for disco. And I love that like Daft Punk kind of like bucks against like the trend of the douche bro pressing play at a festival. It's like, nah, like to do this shit is a lifestyle choice. Like motherfucker, like they didn't have to make Human After All, but they knew they had to get it out of their system. And I love that so much about them. You know what I mean? Yes,
that I do.
What's your all right, wait. So like A Lord knows this. He's in the stream, my dog. We discussed in detail about how we can't stand that Pharrell is the lead vocal on Get Lucky. And that we wish it had been somebody else who literally has the range to stay in like his head voice without kind of like squeaking out the notes. But we also, at the same time, we love Lose Yourself to Dance, because that is a song that's built around Pharrell. And like just like the way the come on, just like kind of stacks up. It's like this. If the music industry wasn't a bunch of fucking cowards, that would be the lead single, because that is a barn burner. You can have that fucking for 7 minutes and it's still gonna shake ass to it.
Have you heard the like alternate mix they put out of Lose Yourself to Dance, where it's like they had different like clips in the background other than the come ons, and they were like experimenting with different things. And the funny thing about it is, you know, obviously it's still really good, but it's not as good. And it really just shows you like how much attention to detail. They didn't just throw that shit on there. They iterated on it. They tried a bunch of different things with those background vocals, and then they found like the one that worked, and they were like, this is the one.
Oh, I'm gonna have to put that bitch on when we're done. That's looking so good. Golly. Number 47.
Number 47 I have here as Sleep Through the Static by Jack Johnson. Now, I have long, ever since I was, some of my music origin story of how I used to listen to music is when I was a kid. We obviously had a bunch of CDs, but this was also right at the time when technology was going over to like primarily MP3 players and such, right?
Yeah.
But I also didn't have an iPod. I had a computer that I had access to. And so my primary way of listening to music for a good few years when I was like in my, you know, a kid and in my early teens was Pandora. Which
Mm.
for you young whippersnappers, back before we had algorithmic Spotify playlists, one of the only online streaming services was Pandora, which was a place where you could listen to music. You could not control what song you listened to, but you would put in a song and it would play you songs based on that song by a bunch of different characteristics they logged, like, the tempo and the key, or I don't know how it all worked behind the
Bunch of
scenes,
shit.
but it would try and serve you like similar vibe stuff. And so back when I was a kid, I would do that, and I started with some basic shit that I listened to as a kid, like from my dad's CDs. I'd start with a Beatles song or whatever, and then I'd hear a song I really liked on that station. It was all conceptualized as fake radio stations. So I'd put on the Beatles radio, and then I'd hear something I liked from that, and then oh, I'm going to make a station of this song. So I made a station of that song, and then I'd listen to that, and then I'd hear a song I really liked, and all of this, by the way, this is not me intentionally like broadening my horizons or whatever. This was all me trying to game the system to hear the song I liked again, but I couldn't control it because it was Pandora, and I was, I guess, too stupid as a kid to know I could just type that shit into YouTube. So I was always trying to chase the dragon of like finding the song again, and because of that, I listened to a lot of sort of stuff by association. And one of those things that I got really into for a while was Jack Johnson, which people know Jack Johnson obviously by reputation as like, the banana pancakes guy, right?
Yeah.
As this sort of, oh, he's this chill bro who loves surfing, and that is true, but also like a lot of his songs are actually really dark and have a lot of very prescient social commentary in them, and people just don't listen to the album, so they don't realize that or notice that.
Wow, I wouldn't have better known.
Yeah, and that's something interesting, and it always, it always sort of bothered me when people sort of shit on Jack Johnson as a low target. It's like, yeah, I get that from his public reputation, but actually, he seems like a really nice guy who cares about his family and also does put a lot of like his music is anything but sort of hollow, empty, calorie-less, chill vibes. Again, maybe to wit what we were talking about with the random access memories, like people throw it on for chill vibes, but they don't listen to the lyrics, and then the lyrics are, there's a lot there, at least in some of the songs. I'm not going to pretend some of it isn't like, chill vibes, whatever, but we can also always use that.
The only thing I want to say about Jack Johnson is that I remember when Andy Samberg had like a leading role in like his 2010 single "At Her With Me," and like that song plays on my job, and that's a fond memory for me because like that's actually because most people can agree that like Sandberg's comedy is very hit or miss, whether that's Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like the movies that he's in, Lonely Island. It made us like, ooh, this like very just like not my flavor of comedy. That video was actually funny to me. It doesn't do too much. I think the song like stands aside from the video. And so like when I hear it on my job, I don't like grind my teeth. And when I look at the album on Spotify, I notice that, oh, this song isn't even the most like popular song on the record. He still has the juice like years after like the height of his relevancy as a singer-songwriter. And I love that. That's very interesting to me.
Yeah. Quick aside on that. Speaking of comedians randomly in Jack Johnson videos, if you ever want to check out the Taylor video, Ben Stiller is in it, and it's also really funny.
The guy from Severance.
Yes. But yeah, for those of you who do like sort of soft singer-songwriter stuff, but that does have a social commentary, I recommend you give Jack Johnson a second look. If you've dismissed him out of hand.
Sleep Through the Static. Okay, cool. I've seen that album cover, I think basically my whole life of being online. Yeah. So very cool. Now 46.
All right, number 46 I have as PPP by Magnus Paulsen. This is the soundtrack to the game VVVVVV, and it's fucking great.
What on earth is this? Tell me more.
Okay, so this was a game that came out of the early sort of 2010s indie boom. Basically, you play a blue stick man guy who can not jump but can reverse gravity, and so you sort of flip back and forth between the floor and the ceiling. It's like 2D, very retro vibes. By Terry Kavanagh, the game is, and he got I believe Swedish composer named Magnus Paulsson to do the soundtrack, and it is just it's chiptune. It's very retro vibes, but it has some real fucking bangers on there. Like Pushing Onward and Positive Force are just really good. They sort of those two songs mimic each other in thematically. It's like, because not to over explain this, but in the Pushing Onward is like the first area, the song that plays in the first area of the game when you're sort of learning everything.
Sure.
And it's really good. It has this like very catchy sort of theme behind it. And then you leave into the main world and you like explore all these other areas. And then there's a second area that's sort of attached to the first area that when you're in the first area, you see like some of the hallways going past, but you can't reach them because they're like sort of just behind inaccessible puzzles or just behind walls. And so when you get to the second area and Pushing Onward plays again, then it's this really like compelling thematic return, even though it is the same track. But then there's a third area that's like a boss area where it's like it's an auto scrolling level where there's spikes at the top and bottom of the screen and it's like all moving up and you need to like get through it without dying and basically escape a trash compactor type thing essentially. And that has the song Positive Force, which is like a remix slash what is the word, reprise of the Pushing Onward theme, but like more intense and takes it to higher heights. And it just like after sort of seeing it come back 2 times regularly and then again in the sort of new context, it's just an incredibly compelling thematic thing. And then just the soundtrack in general is so good. So this is the kind of music that I'll put on at work and I like really need to lock in because I'm a software engineer, so I need to think very like hard about things sometimes, which means I can't really have lyrics going on. But this is the kind of music that'll like give me that gas in my tank when I really need to think, but like I need the energy,
Very cool. I'm happy to know that I'm not the only person with a video game soundtrack in their list. Look forward to that. It's from the PlayStation 2, so like have fun coming through that. Like it's extensive game library. Toby Fox, eat your heart out. Number 45.
Number 45 I have as Fever Breaks by Josh Ritter. This is an Americana, I guess, album from, I think it was 2020. But it's like, I don't know how familiar everyone is with the Americana genre, but it's basically what would, in a pre-9/11 world, be called country music, but now it's not about, like, trucks in America, so it doesn't count.
Okay.
But it's really good. It has some really good sort of social commentary in the songwriting as well. It came out right in the midst of the first Trump administration, so it very much reflects that, but it's also just really good stories. And in that sort of album, I always am looking for incredibly compelling stories. And then it's also got like big loud guitars and like sounds good. Good shit.
I will be the first to admit I don't know Josh Ritter, but I love that in like the fans also like I see 2 of my favorites. I see Dawes and I see the Event Brothers, and I'm like, good company to keep. I'm gonna have to circle back on that one at some point.
Yeah, I do recommend it. I believe it was produced by Jason Isbell of Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit.
Man of the World.
Keep an eye out for that later on the list, by the way.
Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that Easter egg. Let's get it.
Yeah.
What else we got? Number 44.
Number 44 here is Neck and Neck by Mark Knopfler and Chet Atkins.
Now, Mark Knopfler is a name, again, I see all over the place. Who the heck is that?
He was the, or is, I guess, still. I don't think they broke up ever. He is the lead guitarist of Dire Straits, which is, yeah. My dad listened to a lot of Dire Straits. I know it's no repeat artists, but I do have one album by Mark Knopfler and Chet Atkins, one album by Mark Knopfler, and well, actually, I don't have a Dire Straits album on here. But I grew up with a lot of Mark Knopfler playing because my dad was a big fan of him in the 80s. So we had a lot of his CDs, but he's just an incredible fingerstyle guitarist on a Stratocaster. And Neck and Neck, specifically, this album came out in, I believe, 1990.
Yep.
Chet Atkins is another legendary fingerstyle guitarist, but from the country genre. And Neck and Neck is just like a collab album between them, where they're it's like a rock fingerstyle legend and a country fingerstyle legend, just kind of tearing it up. And the album itself, I would say, leans more in the country direction, but there's a lot of variety song to song, and it has some real all-time great songs on it that I really enjoy. Poor Boy Blues specifically has this like huge booming guitar sound, and it's incredibly good song.
I again want to like just give some kudos to this like the riffers in the country genre. Emily, do you remember that one band Attack Attack?
Yeah.
So clean singer of Attack Attack, Johnny, goes off to start band Bill Murray. And a couple of his songs, very poppy choruses, just like double bass drums. But every so often, like he'll bring a motherfucker out to play some mandolin, some steel guitar, and like some mug is just like, I'm about to kick a riff on this. And it's a straight up like country rock, some Keith Urban level bullshit over some breakdowns. And I'm like, this shit is so neat. We need to go back.
Some of those country players have literally like insane chops. When you hear about like some of that old Nashville shit, like when they were recording in the 60s, and it'd be like, people would be knocking out 12-hour days of 3-hour sessions of 4 songs each, playing songs they'd never heard before in their lives, and just like doing the most amazing work you could possibly think of.
We just gotta we have to like just like go like crate digging and just like scoot it, like you gotta like get like the racism detector over every album we get. And like, we gotta get some riffs off these motherfuckers. We gotta like keep the feeling alive. Like, not every motherfucker with the 8-string has to be Tosin Abasi. You're not gonna join Califia. Like, you're not gonna join Periphery. But you might as well be like, you might shed next to like Christone Kingfisher. You never know. Like, pick up the strap.
You never know.
Listen to some country. 43?
43 I have as Starboy by The Weeknd. I think that one is relatively self-explanatory. It's just an incredible pop album. And I love pop music.
I gotta say, it's funny. I was glazing like Daft Punk a few minutes ago. I never liked Starboy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love that it's a tone setter. When that's like kind of like I want to put you in the worst mood. I get that, and I love the video. I love the new haircut. I love like the lightsaber. Like, that's cool. I just, something about like his vocal delivery in that song doesn't do it for me. And like, I'm a motherfucking Starboy is like, it's so cheesy to me. But at the same time, flip the coin over. I feel it coming. Oh my god. Why is that song so good?
Oh no, like fucking amazing song. That is, and I get what you're saying about the title track, but also like I don't know. It works for me. The cringe earnestness works for me in many cases. This is not unique to this this experience, but it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am a motherfucking star boy.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Like Party Monster again is just like it's so unserious, but
Yeah,
like it's just like the right level of like brooding. Like it's very much like the Weeknd's kind of like a wrestler in a way.
yeah. It's
He's like
all. It's like, yeah. It's a put on, but it's like a put on that everyone knows is a put on, and then they go along with it because it's good, and it's better if you engage with it on that level.
like I know that, and like not to burst your bubble to any like members of the IWC. I know Hangman Adam Page didn't burn down the home of Swerve Strickland, but like when I see that face, when I see that mustache, when I see those cowboy boots, I know that's a man who means business. And again, on the flip side of that, like in true like Hulk Hogan fashion, ain't no way like the Weeknd can play The Idol and like with a straight face. Like that is alarming behavior that I'm seeing on my television screen. Like, no way are you like, is this like who you really are? Because if it's any like semblance of like what you're doing behind the scenes, because like those first three like Weeknd mixtapes, they're kind of like, I need an adult. Like not to make light of anyone who was like in those realms and like anyone who like again like not to scandal acknowledge it myself, but like that shit's no joke. But like the way that like he kind of like pivoted all that shit to like peak superstardom, like it's not unrelated. Like I hear like this like Hurry Up Tomorrow record is like his like departure from that moniker as The Weeknd, and I heard like the single of Future, and I'm like, dog, like this might not actually be for me. Maybe it is like the right time to just like lay this to rest. But like, if you're gonna do that, actually do the thing, because so many of these motherfuckers is like, oh, we're done doing the thing, only to like pick it back up in a decade when like oh, I'm broke, I gotta like go make some more money.
Yeah, that gotta do a reboot.
Like at least Fall Out Boy was like, we'll be back, and many of us didn't think that it was going to be possible, but when they did, oh, they paid like it paid off in dividends. And maybe I don't like the new Fall Out Boy sound right now, but when it's like, oh, we're coming back full time to do the thing, like no one can like get in their comments like, oh, they broke up. No, they didn't, and they certainly did not say that they did. So take notes, all like you superstars who's like, I don't want to do this shit for the next 5 years. Fucking don't. It's cool. You don't have to say shit. You don't also have to say anything. But I understand, like, he's gonna sell these motherfucking tickets. I see like the ads for the tour on my YouTube all the time. So
yeah. But this, by the way, quickly off topic, reminded me of you talking about the Fall Out Boy stuff. Is like that's another reason I respect REM, to take it back to number 50 for a sec. Because not only did they last as a band for 30 years, they then made a decision to break up, and then they didn't get back together.
Oh
no, they're like, I think they're still like friendly with each other or whatever, but like there hasn't been so much as a reunion show, let alone a tour, let alone an album. It's like they did the thing, then they finished doing the thing, and they were like, okay, now we're done, and now they're all doing their own shit, and it's all good.
Yeah, like it's, and sure, not everybody can do that, but it's like words still mean stuff. So like let's commit to the bit.
Commit to the bit is the name of the game. Always is commit to the bit.
We're talking about art, yo. Come on. 42. Let's keep it moving.
42. I have as Straight Outta Linwood by Weird Al Yankovic.
You're speaking my motherfucking language.
That album, speaking of, the early 2000s and listening to music, that album absolutely I had on repeat. That was one of the ones I did have on iTunes, and boy, oh boy, did I listen to like everything on it. And like what a murderer's row of songs. Not only the parodies, but almost more so the originals on that album. Um, like Virus Alert is still one of my it's just an incredible song in its own right, despite also being really funny and kind of now a time capsule to how like the early 2000s perception of computers was, you know?
Oh, I have a lot of love and affect. I've been listening to Weird Al since I was in third grade. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was my first year in public school, and like the teacher, Miss Graham, shout out Miss Graham, she was like, "Yo, when we clean up the classroom, y'all can play what you like." So I specifically remember like Bad Hair Day, or I think yeah, it
Yeah.
was either Bad Hair Day or Poodle Hat. I think it was Bad Hair Day.
Yeah, yeah.
There's this one with everything you know is wrong. And I
That
remember
that
that
sounds
album.
so good.
So that album and the first ever Lil Bow Wow record. I'm like, I
Mm.
have never heard music like this in my life. And I just want to say, I still have yet to see that like biopic with Daniel Radcliffe. I
Oh,
cannot wait to get my hands
that
on
was
that.
so good. You gotta
It's
see it.
good.
It's really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
buddy.
it's
And
very good.
I just want to say, like, one thing, because, like, I'm primarily on Blue Sky, socially
Mhm.
speaking, and, like, one video that, like, just, like, let me know I was in a good place socially was seeing Weird Al on a show recently where he covers Hot to Go by Chapel Roan. And I'm like,
Yeah,
he still got the juice.
he's still cooking. He is after all these years.
What a
Um,
goat.
what a thing. And quick to give everyone an idea of how much I listened to this album when I was a kid versus how much I listened to like the radio. There are still songs from the Polkarama medley that when I hear them on the radio as the real song, I'm like, oh, that's from the Weird Al thing. You know, like Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz. I'm like, that was in that Weird Al medley, right? Beverly Hills by Weezer. Yeah, that's the Weird Al song. And
I'm
that's from
so
the
glad.
polka medley.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because when like I had like my brief like when every American child who's chronically online knows the first time they went onto Newgrounds. And like there was this one specific Newgrounds video that utilized like the Weird Al like polka medley
Yeah.
when it had Loser Baby by Beck and that Nine Inch Nails song about sex.
Yeah, what's that one? Closer, right?
Closer, yeah. So like those are my first like exposures to those songs, and I'm like, they
Yeah.
sound way better coming out in a polka form. It feels very much in the sense that like I'll say this because like I'm a mark. Weird Al walked so Ska2 Network could run.
Yeah.
I'm putting my stamp on it. I don't care. Like,
Oh.
I don't care how it makes y'all feel. Like, shout out to Jair. They know what time it is. Like, I'm. We're moving on before I like contradict myself. Number 41.
Number 41, I have as Sailing to Philadelphia by Mark Knopfler.
Okay.
Now, yeah, again, this is kind of half cheating but the other one was a very collaborative effort, and this is a Mark Knopfler's 2001 solo album, Sailing to Philadelphia. It's just the vibe of it. The songwriting's really good, first of all, but like I don't know, this is gonna sound like the biggest nerd thing ever, but the guitar tones, the fucking guitar tones on Sailing to Philadelphia are all like 100 out of 100 in my opinion. That sort of the Stratocaster, and then it can sound huge, it can sound like small and beautiful, and it can sound grungy and fucked up all in different songs, and it's just I don't know, it's really good just from a sonic, like strictly on sonic levels. It's really good, and the songwriting is also good, and like I always also loved Mark Knopfler's voice. It's in this deep bass baritone. I actually don't know his range, but it comes off as very deep and sometimes almost talk singy, but it works all so well together. There's also a bunch of guest stars on it, like James Taylor, I believe, is on it. Van Morrison, I don't remember. Van Morrison is a shithead, obviously, to acknowledge it, but it's got a laundry list of like people featuring on it too, and it's a really good album. And that was one my dad had on CD and was like playing on a loop when I was a kid because it was pretty new at that time when I was really little, and I don't know, just that through like a hi-fi, like a proper stereo setup. Mm.
I was gonna ask you like a kind of silly question, but like I answered it because I don't know much about Dire Straits, and I'm like, are those like the folks who do Sultans of Swing? And like as I'm clicking and clacking as you're talking, I'm like, they are those people. And when you mentioned the talk singing, I'm like, oh, no wonder. Like, am I talk singing? What do you mean? Like, oh, Sultans of fucking Swing. That's talk singing 101 at that point. And because like I go to Mark Knopfler's Spotify account, and like Sailing to Philadelphia is in like his top 5, and I see like that iconic just like best of album cover from Private Investigations by Dire Straits. And fun fact, I used to work in a CD store, so I would see that CD all the time and be like, who the fuck are these motherfuckers? And like and like what a career to have when like in the mainstream your band's known for one song, but you're still coasting off vibes because people who listen to Dire Straits are the same motherfuckers who like bands like Fish, The Grateful Dead,
Steely Dan, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Like the ones who like are just like, hey man, you want some acid? No, that's cool. You just like carry on about their day. Like really just like
that capital D dad rock shit.
Yeah, it's very much like older cats in their garage, just like reminiscing about their early 20s. Like tape collectors and shit like that. You know what I mean? We need like those kind of people are like how a fandom like stays alive. Like not even a couple of days ago, I'm watching there's this one YouTuber I like. I can't think of her name, but she was like covering like the whole Ticketmaster fiasco. Right. And how like the Grateful Dead had their own like company to manage getting tickets out to their fans and stuff. And they're like, give it up. And they're like, no. And like I respect that a fandom can do like the strength of a band could do such a thing. And we need more of that. We have to kind of rally behind like a scene or an act where it's like, oh, if they're playing this, like if they're playing these markets, we are gonna make some money type shit. We really just like because like we've been doing, I would say like, over the last 4 years in like the lockdown era of music in the roaring 2020s, we've been forming new tribes. And like certain tribes will be like, oh, like let's just like take this market together because we're all gonna get a chunk. We've been trying our best, but like especially at like the current time and with what's going on outside, we gotta do a better job of like not only holding each other accountable, but just like I recall this one fucking time on TikTok, a band's like, here's what we made tonight, and we're gonna give more of it to like the band who has farther away to go home. Yeah. So they want to work with us again. I don't even know what band it was, but it's like that kind of shit shouldn't just like it should be like, oh, that's a no-brainer. You know, like that should be like standard, the same like what everyone assumes everyone will do, right? Yeah, like, oh, we're gonna have each other's backs. And so we all enjoy ourselves at the gig and things of that nature. Yada yada. We're approaching album 40, and I want you to speed run through the next 10 if you can.
All right, I will do this. Quick fire round, relatively so. Number 40 I have as Necronym by Awe. Now I know what you're thinking. That's an album that came out 2 days ago, and you're right. But you know what? Fuck it. We're putting Awe over. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I feel bad for putting it this low only because of the recency bias. It'll probably work its way up over the next couple of months. That's all I'll say about it. It's just an incredible album, fucking incredible production, incredible. Like I feel like I'm just, I can't superfluously praise every single element, but it's fucking great. Go listen to it right now,
Shout
by
out
the way.
Chicago. Shout out Chicago. We out here.
Shout out. I'll move along since we're doing quick stuff. Number 39, I have as Javelin by Sufjan Stevens, an album that fucking destroys you and makes it hard to put yourself back together again, but somehow in a good way.
Sufjan Stevens is that girl, straight up. I really hope that he's well. Like on some serious shit.
No, like absolutely.
I saw that video by Mike the Snare about like his whole discography.
Yeah,
wow, what a true artist, babes. I hope you're doing okay. Honestly,
yeah, for real. You listen to the shit and you're like, this is some of the best stuff I've ever heard. Are you okay?
Curl up and cry type shit, straight up.
At number 38, I have Temperance by Addie. That is another Philly act at Addie Watkins, and she just makes really good music and sort of, I think it's, again, genres, but it's sort of like this sort of alt country adjacent slowcore kind of stuff. Really good, really sort of beautiful sonically, and great songwriting. Just really good. Another one that I keep sort of returning to. That one I think came out last year. Don't quote me on that. But
and that's Temperance?
Really Temperance. It's again, I'm sort of using loose definitions here. I would call it an album. It has six tracks. But what is an album, EP? It's all things.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good album from her. And this is not technically an album, but Rosemary, the single that came out last year, also really fucking good.
Yeah, put her over. We want this. This was
absolutely. Yeah. At number 37, I have The Storyteller by Todd Snyder. Todd Snyder is a singer-songwriter in the tradition of John Prine. And shout out John Prine. Keep an eye out further up the list. But The Storyteller is actually a live album he did in, I want to say 2005. There was like a whole DVD released with it as well. But the album is really good because it not only has full band versions of a lot of his songs, some of which are like only on Rarities albums and shit, and it's some of his best songs. So like I truly sometimes with Todd Snyder, I love his music to death, but like what gets put on his albums versus what gets like left unreleased is sometimes baffling to me. And that being the case, I think his live albums are the best way to experience his music. And this album specifically, The Storyteller, is so good because it not only includes all the songs and like full band arrangements of all these songs that some of them haven't even ever had full band arrangements released from studio albums, but it also keeps all the stories. It keeps the between set ramblings or ramblings is a bit uncharitable. They're clearly well rehearsed sort of backstories to a lot of the songs where he'll tell a 4 or 5 minute story about this is the experience that led to this song, or this is a funny anecdote that this song came from, or this is how people ripped off the song Beer Run from me, and then the song has no legal relation to the other more popular song called Beer Run. Look into that whole mess if you're interested, by the way. But basically, a lot of big national songwriters just totally popped his song and said, no, we didn't.
Sounds like Stairway to Heaven, but it's neither here nor there.
Anywho, moving on, number 36, I have as The New Abnormal by The Strokes. I know people really fuck with the Strokes' first album, but for me, their 2021 is so underrated. That first three-song run is just some of the like one of the best three-song runs in indie rock, I think, potentially ever. It's incredibly solid, and I'll find myself circling back to listen to the album often, and even more often, I'll just play those first three songs in a row because, like, holy shit.
That's a cheat code, so thank you for that, because I never got into that
Yeah.
record. So cheers.
Yeah. Let's see. At number 35, I have Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan. It's just it's an incredibly unhinged album.
Wow.
The backstory behind that album is really interesting. So Bob Dylan played with the band, obviously, capital T, capital
Yeah,
B,
the band.
the band as his backing band. But at some point, he was like, "Yeah, these guys aren't really doing it for me." So what he did is he went to Nashville and hired a bunch of session players. But then he was like, "These Nashville guys are too clean. So you know what? Everyone smoke some weed and switch instruments with each other." And that's not all the songs, but there are songs that literally they did that. And some of those songs are really fucking good because the Nashville guys apparently still know how to play stoned and on the wrong instrument. But it's just it's a really interesting collision of these professional studio musicians being put into Bob Dylan's hell circus of a mind and turning out this like double album. And some of the tracks are also just really good. Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands, I think, is my favorite. It is 11 minutes long. And it's got that songwriting. It's got that Bob Dylan like full force songwriting on it, and that's just really good.
Before we move on, I won't ask if you've seen Wonka, but have you seen that Timothy Chalamet Dylan movie?
I have not. I think I heard like a bit of the music from it, and I was unimpressed. But I would not pass judgment on it without actually seeing the entire thing in context. So I will refrain from that.
It doesn't sound as alarming as that upcoming like Amy Winehouse film.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that young lady, but like I'm praying for you. Respectfully, I'm praying for you because whoever set you up like that is not your friend.
This is a bit of a pet peeve I have with biopics nowadays. They need to stop trying to cast actors who also do the singing. It's not a bad thing to overdub the vocals. Just overdub the vocals. Like, just get someone who can do the vocals to do the vocals. Like, I say this with all the love in the world, but like actors cannot sing.
It's like not everybody can be Beyonce. Not everybody can be Jennifer Hudson. Not everybody can be fucking Loki playing that country singer.
Mm-hmm. Like, just let's go back to overdubbing like vocals for musical numbers in biopics. There was nothing wrong with it. It's not cheating. Just let's end this madness.
I'm with you there. What else you got for us?
On number 34, I have OCMS by Old Crow Medicine Show. This is an old time band. Old time. Okay, I know I am usually illiterate when it comes to genre, but in the incredibly niche, hyper specific micro genres of mountain string band music, there's an important difference to be drawn between bluegrass and old time music. Bluegrass is actually a relatively new invention as a genre. It came out of the 1950s, and it has a lot of rules. You have to have these 5 instruments only, and this particular kind of harmony only. It's all based on the work of Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, which was a band at the time, and basically that band created that genre. But what most people will hear and say is bluegrass is probably old time music, which is just like the same sort of thing, but without all the rules. So you can have fiddles and mandolins and banjos and stuff, all the stuff that is in bluegrass. Yeah, but it's also based in jug band music, and OCMS, particularly by the band Old Crow Medicine Show, is has a lot of jug band influence, and it's really good. It's like you throw out the rule book of bluegrass and you just kind of stomp and holler a bit, and it's got some really good work in that sort of genre. I think that was their first album. Actually, they're still active to this day, and they still making good albums. But like that first one had this sort of raw edge to it that I feel like it got polished out over time, and that's not a bad thing either, because polished up old time music is still like grungy and fucked up in a way. But this one just has a special place in my heart. It also has some really incredible songs in it. Some songwriting. The only song you're likely to have ever heard of theirs is Wagon Wheel, which is like the song that
record cover.
yeah, Darius Rucker covered it. It is a song that if you play it at like a country or folk open mic, everyone in the room will groan and roll their eyes because it's the song everybody plays at country folk open mics. Um, that's a tip for anybody aspiring to go to a country folk open mic. It's a great song. It's it was Bob Dylan's lyrics, and Ketch from Old Crow rewrote it, and it was a giant hit. Don't play it. Just pick another song from the album. They're all good, but that one is like overplayed to death at open mics. Sorry, that's a bit of a tangent. Anyway, good album.
I just want to say for the record, I agree with your take on Wagon Wheel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Let it die. It's okay.
Let it die. The recording of it is great. You can let that be. You can let that be. At number 33, I have "To the Sunset" by Amanda Shires. This album come out, I think, in 2018, and it's really interesting. Amanda Shires is a country fiddle player and singer songwriter, but this album like takes that and then mixes it with like putting effects pedals on the violin, and also some really good guitar work from her husband at the time, Jason Isbell.
Oh, I see.
And it's a really it has some really good songwriting. I little bit of Amanda Shire's backstory. Also, she actually went back to college and got a master's degree in creative writing to songwrite, like for the express purpose of writing better songs. And I think that really shows through on all of her work, but particularly this album is just mixes it with this sort of very interesting sonic combination that you don't hear often, which is like electric violin, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's got almost the psychedelic edge to it at times, and it's a really good album. I recommend it.
When you said Amanda Shires, I didn't recognize her name right away. So I hopped on Spotify, and like her top two songs are from that that super group, the Highway Women. And I'm like,
right.
I remember seeing that album everywhere when it came out. And then when you mentioned like her electric violin playing, I'm like, somebody who is not Lindsey Sterling, who plays like the violin. And I just want to say, like, when I think of like the E-violin, I think of that one shorty on Instagram that typically like wears like nice costumes and plays like E-violin to popular songs, or that one like performance on Colors where they have Tom Misch playing "Man Like You," and like his accompanist like has a big ass pedal board for his like violin, and just like is a wicked ass solo. And like the first time I heard it, I almost like shed a little tear. And like I love that. And this is like in the before times. So maybe 2018, but still just like I love that. Even like as I'm getting like I'm in my early 30s, like I'll hear certain songs and like not to like be traumatic, but like me and like crying don't go well together. So like even as early as like last January, I'm playing a song for a friend, and I'm like, this song means a lot to me. And to see like the performer just like lose themselves in like joy of singing this song and like shouting out the country where they're from. Oh, like buckles me to my knees. And so, like, hopefully you can find a similar experience, fair listener, when you put on some Amanda Shires. Just saying. What else we got? What else?
Number 32, I have I Hope You're Happy by Cracked Gyroscope. Cracked Gyroscope is a defunct music project from someone I knew off of Twitter, Jess. And this is, I believe, the only album on this list that I think got taken down and you can't find anymore.
Oh.
But it's like it really incorporates sampling in a way I really enjoy, because there's like a through line as you listen to the entire album where it has scenes of dialogue or audio from fiction that sort of weave the whole thing together, and playing parts and lines from that in between the songs. And that's just, that was really cool to me. And also the songs are just really good. Particularly, I must still have a copy of this somewhere. If it's gone forever, I'll never leave my bed again. But the song Independence, particularly from this album, just like something about that sonic palette really scratched my brain. It's got this sort of big open guitar, fuzzy thing. It's almost shoegazy, and the vocals are kind of buried, but it's just really good and really beautiful. I actually did a cover of it back in 2020, I think, early 2020, which might be on my YouTube. I can't remember if I took it down or not, but I don't know, really good album, and something probably very few people have heard of, especially now, because you can't find it anymore.
I can safely say for the record that album is no longer on Spotify. But again, even if I don't know an artist, I'm always like, who are they associated to? Like, who are the usual suspects? And the remaining single by that artist on Spotify is on a compilation from 2021 with two artists that I specifically know, Tape Girl and Peach Rings.
Yes.
Again, the two superstars in our mutual circle when we all lived on DIY Twitter. And so that is a great sign for me specifically. I also want to say that I relate to you. It's today, I'm clicking through playlists that I've made on Spotify. Making playlists on Spotify is my hyperfixation. It's my personality. And so I'm going through and I'm looking for a specific song my ex played for me from a 1991 Turkish dude named Martik. Nilufar is the song. It's like a wedding song that he heard on NPR once. And I'm like, this song is gas. I'm about to play it on every fucking playlist I make. They took the album down. And so I'm so sad. And I'm like, okay, if there's a chance it won't come back, I have to find it somewhere else and keep on just leaving it in places so I can be reminded, oh, this particular song, oh, how nice it makes me feel. You have to when you kind of hoard music as a personality choice, you have to hide it away from yourself. Because especially if you're not collecting physical media, you've got to leave breadcrumbs for yourself all over the place, because no one has the brain big enough to hear every song ever made. God, I wish that that's my dream of dreams, but I don't want to listen to everything for real. So this you have to leave reminders for yourself every freaking where, in people that you know or may never see again, and just because you never know when you'll need that song again. You'll never freaking know. So cheers to Cracked Gyroscope. I hope you're well wherever you may be.
Indeed. And to quick take off of that last point. Yeah, download all the shit you ever want to see again, because in today's technological environment, who the fuck knows where everything's
burning the books.
Yeah. So not only physical media, but just get those MP3s, throw them up on a Google Drive, have them. All right. Next one, number 31. I alluded to it earlier. The Nashville Sound by Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit.
What a great name for a fucking band.
Oh my God. I love that kind of shit. I had a band in college that I called the Sleepy Canyon Boys. I just love that sort of shit. It's so good. But yeah, the Nashville Sound 2017 album, so good. Like archetypical Americana genre music, like we were talking about with Josh Ritter earlier. Um, just incredible songwriting, incredible sonic. Um, like the production on it's really good. I do love Dave Cobb's work, um, and like the variety of sonic palette on it too. Like, you have songs that in a vacuum would be a straight up rock song, and you have songs that in a vacuum would be like a straight up old time song or a string band song. And it mixes together that with the sort of social themes so well. And I just think it's really incredible. Really good album.
Heck yeah. Another one.
Number 30 I have as Viva La Vida or The Death of All of His Friends by Coldplay. Like with Jack Johnson, I am a 100% Coldplay apologist.
Same.
Like, let's not pretend here. People call it mom music or like minivan music, whatever the fuck. Like, okay, first of all, like in their early years, they were flirting with like prog almost. They had some really interesting like songs on those early albums, and figuring out which album to pick was actually really hard for me because like through Milo Xyloto, I really liked all of their albums, and like Rush of Blood to the Head was almost what I put here, and X and Y I almost put here. They're like that early 2000s run of theirs was just so good, and I feel like for all the people who only know them from what Viva La Vida, specifically the song that got played on the radio a lot, like you owe it to yourselves again to like dig into their discography and check that shit out because like like also by the way to speak on the stuff we were talking about on the weekend earlier, like they're a band that actually does evolve with the times. Like I feel like a lot of times you'll have either a band that will like stay in their own lane forever, or a band that'll like make a wild swing and fuck it up to try and like pivot. And Coldplay, like even though some of their later work or more recent work I don't fuck with quite as much, like they're still here making bangers, and they're making bangers with like BTS. They're keeping it modern. They're keeping it going for like 2024 or 2025, and I have to respect that about them.
All right, so like I'm about to glaze like Coldplay something fierce. So,
yeah,
like, if you're the type to go like, "Hey, yo," like shield your eyes, because like, let me tell you something about this fucking band Coldplay.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about fucking English bands, like bands from the UK. These motherfuckers never break up. Never. It's like, you three finna be in my life until the day that I fucking die. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, sure. And so, like, first things first, I'm scrolling through, like, Coldplay's massive discography. These motherfuckers covered Kid Cudi in 2022 on some, like, fuck it type shit.
Yeah.
Who's doing, like, it's like Switchfoot playing Frank Ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does this exist? I'm so glad that it does, but like, who asked for this? Like, arguably my inner child. Like,
yeah,
they're fucking
they're just like
the single for like the Hunger Game movies they did, Atlas.
Why is
that song so good?
Right, like that's not even on an album. Why did they do? They didn't have to do all that for fucking Catching Fire. Great film, by the way, but like they didn't have to.
They really like nah. I heard that Tarzan soundtrack. We finna go hard in this hole. Are you kidding me? No, and also this. I just want to like Lost on that album sounds like DC Go-Go. Like who's like we didn't see like people outside Maryland, people outside DC and Virginia have no context for that genre until fucking Turnstile. Put it in put it in Glow On. So like the see that like just like the impact of regional music reaching across the pond and shit like that. We hear about bands like Tank and the Bangers and The Roots going to England. Like, nah, we gotta lock in before we come back home and fuck some shit up. And I remember getting Lovers in Japan, the music video, for free on iTunes. Like, seeing them perform that song live did something to me as a child. Strawberry Swing, again, I mentioned Frank Ocean.
Fuck yeah.
His version of that song should be the only version of that song that fucking exists. Like, I don't know who the fuck I have to knock out in like a bare knuckle fight. I need that mixtape, Nostalgia Ultra, on all streaming platforms. The kids need to know the hard work that Frank put in. We may never see that motherfucker ever again. And for what it's worth, I hope we never do. He's given us enough. And somehow, like, I'll even hear shit from that tape I didn't even know was from that fucking tape to this day. I love that cover so much. And finally, I just got 2 words for you. Violet Hill.
Yeah.
I'm getting fucking
oh my god.
Just thinking about that fucking song. Who the fuck gave you motherfuckers the right to write a song like that?
Like, they put fucking Brian Eno on the shit. What are we, like?
It speaks for fucking self. The one fucking John Hopkins single that they interpolate on this fucking record. That's like 9 minutes or some shit. I also got for free on iTunes. Like, this is a generational album. And one last thing, I swear I'm done. Every Teardrop Is a Waterfall is a perfect fucking song. Like, some time ago, I was in a group chat, and someone's like, "Oh, what are like 50 songs you could never live without?" And I'm like, I can't fucking make a playlist like that. And then I made it that night. And like, I keep taking things in and out of that album. Every Teardrop Is a Waterfall might very well be like one of the originals from like that frantic night when I made that list. Because even when, like, you know, I work in retail, every time I hear that song, it feels like, nah, we gotta stop what we're doing and listen to this fucking song. It is a perfect pop song. Like, oh shit. Like again, like, a band that, like, Imagine Dragons could never like move through the world at the magnitude that like Coldplay does. Like, you can say arguably they can go band for band as far as like profits earned over the years and shit, but the quality of the music is here and here. And like, it's quite clear when, like, again, Mike the Snare, who listened to all their records and like, oh, here's what we're up to. Like, the coverage, like, it's clear that like, oh, like, they're doing the shit I wish Taylor Swift would do in regards to like, oh, we know that like for us to move around as like a functioning apparatus of like playing music in the world, we have a big carbon footprint. And like an attempt has been made in public to reduce that carbon footprint. It's one thing that's like, it's one thing if it's like you're George Michael and you're giving away your money in private. It's like, don't tell anybody I did this. I'm not doing it for the clout. I'm not saying Taylor Swift has to be like the ultimate perfect, like, progressive person in this world. But if you're richer than God, like you gotta change the way you move. Cause again, I said it off camera. Like, people were booing Shorty at the Super Bowl, and it's like, if we didn't know so much about you, we wouldn't be focused on you. And you haven't really done anything to anybody, but like, you are so visible. And I remember a time when like Swift was going up against Spotify themselves saying, "You're fucking up my shit, and therefore you're fucking up the industry." And bands like, one of my goats, Enter Shikari, is like, "We agree with her." Bands that I like, Snarky Puppy, saying, "We agree with her. We should be doing something about this." It didn't go anywhere because now all her shit's back up. And I'm just like, you could change, like, and again, like, I don't really know those motherfuckers in Coldplay like that, but like, the quality of the music is that good where it's like, what? I may have to fucking reevaluate my life while I just kept hearing some of this shit. So like, let me shut the fuck up. I really just want to get that off my chest because like,
I'm always here for like
rock.
Fellow Coldplay defenders are always welcome in my home.
Come on now, golly. Moving on.
If anything else, it's like, if anything else, it's just like another lesson in, like, you know, people who don't listen to like these pop culture narratives of like, oh, this band's cringe. Like, fuck off. They're good. They're great.
You
Fuck
must
off.
embrace the cringe. Like,
Yeah.
I literally like Jacob Collier. No
Mhm.
shade to that boy, but he's kind of cringe. And you know how many
Mhm.
Grammys he has? I swear to God, every year he drops, he takes one of them bitches home.
Mhm.
And he's just like, and like, yeah, like he has privilege. Yeah, he had like the knowledge to make the cringy shit. But like, it's really like sending motherfuckers into like a harmony coma when he pops out with
Mhm.
like his shit. Like, mugs want to
Right.
work with him. And like,
Yeah.
the proof is in the pudding. And it's just like,
With
yeah,
with Jacob
try some
Collier,
shit.
yeah, with Jacob Collier, I always get the feeling like, whatever. You can find his stuff not to your taste, but really so much criticism of him comes off as anti-intellectualism. It's like, oh well, why do you use all these complicated chords? And it's like, because you can. So why not,
It's fun.
Yeah, because like you don't if you know all that shit, you don't need to use the complicated chords. No one's making you do it, but like you can, and that's a greater number of colors you can paint with on your like music canvas.
You earlier mentioned how like when you have good background vocals, like you'll
Mm,
want to like test them out on your own. And right now, my favorite song in the world right now is "Erase Me" by Lizzie McAlpine, like the Ceilings girl
mm,
from TikTok,
yeah,
because
yeah,
Collier produced that song and he does BGVs all over that bitch. And I'm like,
yeah.
this motherfucker can cook up a good song when he has like the chance to do so. Like, this is the motherfucker that has writing credits on "Good Days" by SZA. Like, the motherfucker can
Mm-hmm.
cook when he has the opportunity. Don't
Right.
sleep on my dog, bruh. Moving on, man. Oh my gosh. Thank you for that, Emily. I appreciate you.
No problem at all. Okay, moving on to number 29. I have Four of Arrows by Great Grandpa.
I don't
Just
know this band.
Oh, you don't know Great? I highly recommend Great Grandpa. They're like another one of those sort of country adjacent rock indie bands. Again, genre is not my strong suit, but they
Sure, sure.
are just a really they sonically such a like what is the word I'm looking for? They have such like a full sound. It sounds big and filled out, and that's sometimes a hard sound for indie or smaller bands to get. I feel like is like this like sound that feels like it's hitting you on all the levels, and then just genre wise, like it's right in the sweet spot. I love where it's like rock plus the country influence plus indie plus fuck it up a little bit from time to time. Um, Four of Arrows was the what year did that album come out? One sec.
2019.
2019. Yeah, their 2019 album. It was really good. Frankly, if this list had happened 6 months from now, there's a very good chance I'll put what their new album on it because the
Wow.
singles that have come out so far from that album are incredibly good. That is called Patience Moonbeam, and I believe it's coming out in May. Um, but it's the three singles from that, Junior, Doom, and Kid, are like to give you an idea. The Doom single came out, I believe, in October last year, and it made like the top 10 top listened to songs on my title last year, coming out
Wow.
2 months before the end of the year. That's how much I
Wow.
was I was had that shit on repeat. But Four of Arrows is also a great album, and it feels like a precursor to this current album. It's like all the things I liked about Four of Arrows are in the new singles, but Four of Arrows itself is no slouch. Like Bloom is a fucking incredible song, Rosalie as well, and it's just it flows so well as an album as well. It's one of those that like they know when the sort of flow of the album between upbeat songs and downbeat songs and singles quote unquote and filler songs quote unquote. I say that because I don't actually know what the actual singles were, but like you get the concept of in an album sequencing, which I'm very, very passionate about album sequencing and the theory of it. But like, not every song should be a, going so hard all the time, because that gets exhausting, and you need that sort of push and pull. You need that sort of curve of the album to go up and down beat, and this album does that really well, in my opinion, and has absolute bangers throughout. So um, definitely check that out, and definitely check out their new album when it comes out.
When I looked them up, once I saw the album cover, I'm like, oh, I've seen this before. And I realized to myself, oh, I'm already following this band on Spotify. I definitely, if I had to speculate, I probably went to my ex's house and he played this for me once. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So like, it's like the breadcrumb trail is clear on, it's clear to me. I'm looking forward to getting back into that record. Awesome.
Yeah. Let's look next. I have number 28, Perverts by Ethel Cain. This is
this the new shit?
This is the new shit. That's like
Ooh.
Basically a noise album or a drone album a lot of the time, and it's so fucking good.
Wow.
I've obviously encountered like drone music and noise music and that sort of thing before, but I've never, I like it, but I've never gotten like really into it. But holy shit, the Perverse is just like the kind of album that you need to put on your headphones and lie in the floor in the dark and just listen to it through, because it's like it's a whole experience. It is truly, like, in terms of artists taking genre swings, it is one of the biggest we've seen in recent years, and absolutely pays off, in my opinion.
I have one question. Do you remember during like the height of the lockdown when 9 Inch Nails is like, yo, 2 new albums for free, go get them?
Yeah.
Would you say it's adjacent to that sound in any way, shape, or form?
Let's see. I haven't listened to those albums in a while.
Okay.
But yeah, it's it's like drone dark electronic music almost, and it has, again, like almost spoken word elements at times. If you know Ethel Cain's previous stuff, it's nothing like that. So forget all that shit. But it's like it's ambient. It's what some people would probably call hardly music, but in my opinion, is just an expansion of what music can be.
I'll go ahead and snitch on myself. I was going to put Preacher's Daughter on my top 100, having never heard it, just based off just like the praises that I hear heaped upon this record, and like if there's gonna be any form of just like white trans women like being featured in like top 100, it might as well be Miss Cain, because the girls really like her work, and like. And like, it's not like she didn't have shit previously to Preacher's Daughter. It's just that this is an album that broke the levee, and I love that like this is a woman who's on Tumblr. I love that this is a woman who's ready to mobilize the Amish. If one Aubrey Graham opens his mouth about Megan Thee Stallion ever again in his motherfucking life, nothing but respect in my book. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
And then to like follow up such a groundbreaking album, be like, you know what? No, drone album, no vocals. Fuck you. At number 27, I have "Bothered Unbothered" by Jer. Obviously, shout out Jer. Speaks for itself
now more than ever. Ska
now more than ever. No, legitimately. Fucking incredible album. Obviously, if you don't know Jer's music, go check it out. What the fuck are you doing? First of all, why are you watching this? Why are you here? Why aren't you going to watch? Why are you going to go do that right now? I also
pick it up. Literally, pick it up. I make it a point every Christmas season, because I work in retail, and I have a couple like mini speakers that I brought to work. And so one I'll take out with me when I'm picking up carts out of the parking lot. And then I have like a little multi speaker that I keep under my desk. And so whenever I get a chance, people like, steal things from my job. And like, if we find like empty packages, we like put them in a bin and I'll scan them out of the system. And while I'm doing so, usually it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I'll put on like Snow Miser, Heat Miser back to back just to restore the feeling. Like, ooh,
Fuck yeah.
like it scratches an itch. I can't. Yo, Jer LP2 on the way. Put some motherfucking money in their basket. Shout out Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out motherfucking Florida. Hey yo, Ron DeSantis, you a bitch. Say gay or say goodnight.
Say gay or say goodnight. Literally. I saw them live last year, and it was, as incredible as you would ever think. They literally fucking, at the show I was at, jumped on the bar playing trombone. It was fucking insane. Incredible fucking show. If you have any opportunity, if you have any possible opportunity to go see Jer live, fucking do it. Like, not even kidding. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sorry, I was gonna move on. Do you have a okay?
Yeah, fine.
Number 26, I have Trust Ceremony by Jiraiya.
Me too!
Just like, oh my god, like, talking about production, talking about songwriting and orchestration and composition, arrangement, like, holy shit. Like, I know I said that you can't make an album where every song goes hard in a row. I fucking lied. This album is that. Oh my god. It's like, every song is just like batshit fucking insane, and it has you grabbing onto your seat like you're going 90 miles an hour. And you know what? Good. Don't listen to this album in the car. You will find yourself doing 120 down the highway because the vibes are just that.
I gotta say, shout out to that Queen Polly Pocket Knife, of that other band we need not mention.
Those who know.
No, actually though, but straight up, because like, she's like, "Hey yo, Debt Collector by Jiraiya," and I'm like, young black kid from New York making alt music. I'll put this shit on. I put it on, and I'm like, hold the fuck up. Who the fuck is this motherfucker? Drops Flight of the Crows.
Beginner's Guide. Beginner's Guide to Thinking You're Dumb. Oh my god. Wait, which Pressure Bomb? 1, 2, or 3?
No, but just like like let me say this and we'll move on. Panic at the Disco who?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like like Panic at the Disco, you thought they did the thing? They didn't do fucking shit compared to Jiraiya.
Actually?
No.
Hey, Brendan Urie. I hear you're trying to cash a check in Ryan Ross's name at the When We Were Young festival. Stay the fuck at home, you loser.
Yeah, you are obsolete.
He almost ruined Beach Bunny for me when I thought they were opening on that last Panic tour. And I'm like, these motherfuckers gotta eat. I can't take it that personally. And I'll be the first motherfucker, because like, I hate to do this, but like, I used to be a big Dance Gavin Dance fan. And like, after all that went down with that band, I haven't listened to Circus Survive at all since that time. And because I took it that personally, that so many of like the acts that I love are like, well, gotta still play the tour. I don't care if I'm naive. I want y'all to know, you don't have to do that shit. Spirit Box could have been on tour with Falling in Reverse and said, no, thank you. They've been nominated for Grammys twice.
Yeah.
Ronnie Radke, you were in like Escape the Fate. Do you have any Grammys? Heard your girl was coming out. Your ex-girl used to be a pro wrestler, came out to your music. Where's she at? Nowhere to be seen. Reevaluate your life. Go raise your child. Let me shut the fuck up, yo. Next album.
Next album. At number 25, I have The Record by Boy Genius. I am not above sad indie girl shit, and boy oh boy, this is some of the saddest they got.
I got 4 words for you. We are in love.
Oh fuck. Yep. Nope. Yep. Okay. Yep. Life ruined. Thank you.
Like, not like, I feel like Thanos with the Infinity Stones, because I've seen Lucy Dacus, I've seen Phoebe Bridgers. Yo, Julianne, we need you to come through to Philly just so we can complete the cycle.
I'm seeing her with Torres in May, I think.
Oh shit!
I'm so fucking excited.
They got that country record they're gonna put out.
Yeah. Oh my god. Have you heard the singles? Jesus.
Should I? They're that good?
That shit's so good. You gotta go check it out.
Shit.
Sylvia. But yeah, it kind of speaks for itself. But also, like, as I was talking about earlier with Four of Arrows, like the cohesion of the record. It's like it's a really unique thing to make a record that feels incredibly cohesive, but also like you can listen to any individual song and see the fingerprints of which one of them wrote it, or like took lead on it. And I think that's a really cool, unique thing, and something we don't really see with modern supergroups, insofar as there even are modern supergroups.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, great record. Their EP is also really good. I almost put that on there instead, but like, how can you decide?
The best Boy Genius song is the one they wrote for Haley Williams.
I mean, can I disagree with you? Not really.
Yeah, I had that shit on for. I don't really like, and that's me saying that it, like the solo run of Haley Williams didn't really do anything for me, but that specific song cracked my egg. Let me tell you.
Many such cases.
Hey.
Next up, I have at number 24. Welcome Interstate Managers by Fountains of Wayne.
Rest in peace to the GOAT.
Just like, when we're talking about power pop music, need we continue?
Put some fucking respect on Fountains of motherfucking Wayne. And shout out shout out homie from Eve 6 who's like gonna be in the band, like.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so fucking cool.
Like yeah.
Also another fun anecdote that also sort of speaks to the actual staggering sonic variety on this album is that back in my Pandora days, I heard Stacy's Mom a lot, and I also heard Valley Winter Song a lot, and I at no point realized it was the same band, let alone the same album. Holy shit. Like,
layers.
just yeah, like, again, that's one with the album sequencing that like has so many different shits on it, and this is important to me personally. If any of you have ever heard of my music, like I put half a dozen genres on every album too, and like you can do it, but it's hard as shit, and like they did it some of the best.
Yeah, like I listen to like the Hard Lore podcast a lot, featuring Bo from Harm's Way and Colin from God's Hate. And one question that Colin always asks when they have people from bands is like, "Oh, who's the guy in your band? Like, who's the person who's like the brainchild in your group?" Like, it says a lot about Fountains of Wayne when you consider them just like the heaters like they were putting out, just like under their own name or like through somebody else, and that's really fucking cool. So.
No, absolutely. All right. At number 23, I have Reunion Tour by the Weakerthans.
A band I need to like actually make the time to get into. I hear the name all over the place. I'm pretty sure I know. I heard about them recently via A Place for Owls. And so shout out to
very likely. Shout out A Place for Owls. But Weakerthans, an incredible band. You'll be hearing more from their lead singer later on this list, but I feel like it's kind of a controversial take to go with Reunion Tour over Reconstruction Site, but I don't know, something about Reunion Tour always just hit me so good. Hymn of the Medical Oddity, fuck, what a song that is. And then Virtue, the cat explains her departure. One of my favorite Virtue songs in their discography, and what like incredible fucking songs. Sun in an Empty Room, Night Windows, just banger after banger. Really, really good shit. If you haven't checked out the Weaker Dance, just listen to their whole discography. Really, it's like 3 albums. They haven't done anything since 2007. But like, God,
Not a ton of work, but still like a worthwhile dive.
yeah, very worthwhile. Very Canadian, you know. Incredibly good shit. All right. Number 22, I have This Might Be Healing by Jungheim.
I don't know this. Oh, Jungheim! It's been so long.
From DIY Twitter. I know.
Jungheim. I hope that. Jungheim, I hope you're well. Straight up. It's been a minute.
I hope she's doing well. I do. I mean, honestly, if I quit Twitter, I would probably be doing fucking great. So just, I'll throw that out there.
There's still time.
There is still time.
Not to be one of those girls, but there's still time.
Not to be one of those girls, but there is still time. But yeah, this might be healing, which is actually the album that came out 2020. It must have been that. It's like an acoustic album. It doesn't have drums on it. It's mostly acoustic guitars. I think she had a cajon on it, and then, but like, oh my God, this album was so good. And I encountered it so early in like after realizing I was trans, and it just like hit everything. Like, obviously, the girls from that album is just archetypically, trans femme experience stuff. But like, even beyond that, what's the name of that one song? One sec. I'm trying to remember because like all the songs are great. The songwriting is really incredible, but like, How to Deal with Everything, also really, really fucking good song. But there's this one line in Medallion. Medallion fucks me up, where it's like, remember when you told me you were naked and somebody tried to touch you and you were too afraid to stop them? That line like fucks me up heavy. Like, really. Yeah. Go listen to the album. Really good album.
We miss you, Jungheim. Hope you're well, sincerely. Like, real talk.
Real talk. Let's see. Number 21 I have as The Land is Inhospitable and So Are We by Mitski. This album, like, I know people have strong opinions about which Mitski album is best. I don't know. This one just did it for me in a real fucking way. I saw her live also last year. Oh, that show, fucking incredible. She did them all in like performing arts centers, not in like traditional music venues.
I heard.
Like, listen, I love jumping up and down and shit, but also, number one, my legs thanked the fuck out of me after that night because I could sit down and take that shit in. But also just the fucking tracks on this album, like Bug Like an Angel, immediately fucking great song. Guts the hell out of you, and then I don't know, just all of it's so good. The line from The Frost that fucks me up, let me go track it down, but like, The Frost is one of my favorites off the album, honestly, but like, it's an album that's so cohesive and such a like flowing narrative from one song to the next. You can't really remove anything from it for, removing a part from the whole would sort of break the whole machine, it feels like.
Wow.
The Frost has this lyric, "You're my best friend. Now I've no one to tell how I lost my best friend." And like
Oh,
if that don't fuck you up some way, I don't know if you've lived a life that I can relate to in any way.
I you know what? I do wish a best friend breakup on my worst enemy.
Ugh,
I think of all the things I could wish on my worst enemy, I think that's
yeah.
like maybe not like the most non-lethal. No, you know what? Maybe you know what? Let me take the high road. I take that back. Honest, like to be honest with you, like yeah, to be yeah, like nah, I can't go low on that kind of shit.
No,
That's
like
extra that's
that
extra
shit
for me.
that
Maybe
shit.
not. Maybe not. Maybe
Uh,
I'll settle with a kiss with a fist. That's
yeah, that's
see me
far
outside.
more merciful. That's far
Yeah,
less
see me outside.
painful.
See me outside. All I want to say about Mitski, because like there's a lot of things you can say about Mitski. I want to
Yeah.
make a movie, like you know, how, like they have like James Bond movies. I want to
Hmm.
make a spy thriller called Liquid Smooth, like based on like the song from like the I think like the opening track from her first record. I
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
really
yeah.
do want to make a because like that's a Bond theme if I've ever heard a Bond theme. So
Like
like
no, it basically writes itself, doesn't it?
straight up. So like anyone who wants to like finance that, get at me. I'm trying to get Living Abstraction in the writers' room or as directing. Like drop a girl a text. You know where to find me. I'm not hard to find. I'm gonna make a request of you. I'm looking at keeping
Yes.
an eye on the time. It's
Hmm.
2:33. When we hit album 20, I need you to speed run through all of them down to number one because I still have one more big task to ask of you. With like taking some down and putting some back. Where are we right now on your list?
That was number 21. So this is next one is
All
number
right.
20.
Yeah. Bring me all the way down to one, and then you can wax poetic about your big one.
Okay. Number 20, I have The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess by Chapel Roan.
Yeah.
Obviously. What are we
Yeah.
doing here? You've heard the song. Number 19, I have as The Circus Egotistica, or How I Spent Most of My Life as a Lost Cause by Floral Tattoo. Floral Tattoo is a great fucking like shoegaze band out of Seattle. This is
Okay.
their most recent album. Really fucking great.
Cool.
Number 18, I have I've Been Fighting for My Life by Evelyn Gray. This
I know who that
album
is.
came
Got
out,
my
yep.
Twitter.
Came out last year before the election, and holy shit, an album that becomes more important every fucking day now. Also, shout out to it being an album that is one of the first I've heard that uses transfeminine vocal training techniques in songs, like shifting between voices to
Ooh.
incredibly great effect. Um, Great album. Go listen to that. Also, trigger warning: don't listen to that if you don't want to be really fucked up for a while. Um, Number 17, I have October Again by Peach Rings. I know it's not technically an album, but her first album isn't out yet. But October Again, so good. Um, Dead Name, one of the best like indie rock songs of all time. I guess like yeah, right. Um, I've seen her live a bunch. Go do that if you can. Great show. Number 16, I have Mental Illness by Amy Mann. This is an album I listened to a lot in college. Very sort of soft indie rock, but like holy shit, the songs are really good, and the cohesiveness of the album is incredible. That one's definitely worth like sitting down for a full album listen. Sorry, I'm like rolling along here. You can always bust in and interrupt me if you have any questions
Okay.
or comments. Um, Number 15, I have Ghost by Radical Face. This is an album I don't know if people have heard of, really. It's like, I guess a concept album. I think it's from 2010, but like this album really inspired a lot of the ways I make albums at times because it is one of those albums that does the thing where every song like crossfades into the next, like writing on effects, on samples, on like chatter, and it just creates this incredible atmosphere. And also, a lot of the songs are banger, but that album like rewired my brain on the way that albums could be made as like a continuous piece of music almost, rather than discrete songs, even though there are discrete songs on it, but they all sort of connect really, really seamlessly. Number 14, I have The Singing Mailman Delivers by John Prine. This is not, again, technically an album. It's not even really a best of. It is a collection of demos that he made before his first album that are like acoustic studio demos on one side. And then on the other side of the album is a live set he recorded in 1970, I think before he, again, ever had an album. And it is fucking amazing how many of like some of the best folk songs of all time this man had written before literally ever releasing an album. Like it is like 9 iconic all-time songs in a row that's like a 25-year-old kid with a guitar in a studio doing a demo tape. And that's just fucking insane. And honestly, the acoustic versions of the songs I often like better than the studio albums. I do like John Prine's studio albums, but like for me, that sort of just him and the acoustic guitar has always been so beautiful. R.I.P. At number 13, I have the Basic Bitches Basic Bitch pick, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. You know, whatever. I listened to it a lot as a kid, and it does still hold up. I hate to be someone who gets on the
If it
Beatles
works,
suck
it
versus the
works.
Beatles. If it works, it works. And my take on the Beatles suck versus the Beatles don't suck discourse is both sides are now far too tired to ever get any meaningful answers out of at all. So, you know, if you like it, then then like it, but like don't be weird about it, I guess.
And leave Yoko alone.
Yeah, Yoko not only did nothing wrong, but you know, probably has done more good work in her life than John Lennon ever did or would have done. Not to be like that, but yes, I'm being like that.
I don't know. Support like his kid's music. Don't be a weirdo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At number 12, I have Graceland by Paul Simon. This is song from an album from the mid 80s that I don't know, just again one I had on a lot as a kid and just really works. And I know there's definitely been some issues with Paul Simon and even with this album in particular about like, you know, crediting the labor of the other people he had on the album, but like from a personal level, he does really good work. But also, like all the bands and groups he collaborated with did absolutely incredible work, and that is really what you come to the album for. And also, some of the songs are just like all-time classics for me. That's another one. You know, listen to that one front to back, in my opinion. Number 11, Wildflowers by Tom Petty. I actually didn't get into Tom Petty until after he died in 2017, and I always was so mad about that because I was like, "You mean I could have been into this the whole time when he was an active musician?" And I really like much of his work, and I do really I am an apologist for his 2005 album, which I feel like people slept on. That's called Highway Traveler, I think. But at the end of the day, Wildflowers is like a masterpiece of the genre of like the southern side of like jangle pop music, I guess. Rock, jangle rock, is that a thing? Um, and I'll still put that one on front to back all the time.
All I want to say about Tom.
Nope. Go.
Okay. All I want to say about Tom Petty is this. I would say it is my strong belief that like the average American citizen has no context for Tom Petty aside from his Super Bowl performance and the singles they play in big box stores.
Like Free Fallin'.
Yeah, Won't Back Down and shit like that.
Yeah.
I feel as though the music industry does him a disservice, does his family a disservice, not playing like the deep cuts. Play the shit I'm not tired of hearing, respectfully. Because like
That is
I
very
hear
true.
songs, I hear songs like "Won't Back Down." And I'm like, this shit has no sauce. My only context for like "Won't Back Down" in a positive way is that motherfucking Barnyard movie, and like that, like somehow this is like way more compelling, just in a different key and a different like singer. Like the words still
Yeah.
ring true and like they matter, but like like I'm like it's like overplay is a thing, and like my favorite version of Free Falling was my fucking like Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath. So like, come on, y'all.
Quickly, just because you said, the radio industry does them a disservice, I won't go on a whole thing here. But in 1997 or 96, the Telecommunications Act passed, which made it legal for corporations to own a lot of different radio stations, which basically led to the corporatization and homogenization of the entire radio industry. And in 1999, Tom Petty put out an album called The Last DJ that was basically like, fuck that, and fuck all of you for that. And then the radio stations banned it for being anti-radio.
This shit is so unserious.
No, legitimately. So, like, I'm not saying there's a big conspiracy to make everybody hate Tom Petty by only playing, like, 2 of his mid songs as on repeat forever. However,
I appreciate that
giving
context very much. I appreciate that context a lot, so thank you.
Yeah. Okay, at number 10, I have Eagle Creek by Ashley 9 Lives. This album came out in 2019, I think, and it is sort of I feel like in some circles it's a basic pick, and in other circles it's a no one's ever heard of this pick, but it's just a really good album. It uses samples from, I believe, a found tape at Goodwill that they found or something. This is another song that really affected my approach to sampling, specifically on Mall Fantasy. I took a lot of inspiration from this in the way that those audio clips were interspersed, but also the songs are just really good. It's like the peak version of there's no such thing as cringe. Just be the thing you are. Just do the thing. And
you owe it to yourself.
You owe it to yourself to be you, because like otherwise you're just gonna actually come to that in another 20 years and then be mad at yourself you didn't do it 20 years ago.
Real. Number 9.
Number 9, I have Hey I Loathe You by Hey ILY. That album came out last year. It's fucking great. I feel like I'm sort of speculating here, but that album gives me a lot of vibes like it was created in the post context of the first Glass Beach album, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like
that's a really interesting pull.
But it takes its cues from that. I really feel that, and then it obviously it combines that and does its own thing with that, with like all of the previous Hey ILY releases, which were also really fucking great. But like it mixes this sort of quote unquote chiptune and the quote unquote emo and like the heavy stuff so seamlessly, and the arrangements, the songwriting, like the instrumental songwriting is so fucking good. The way like every song is a journey, like fully. You can tell every second of that shit has been poured over and written down to the T, and that work shows through absolutely. Speaking of, at number 8, I have Plastic Death by Glass Beach. I know this may be controversial. I actually don't know if it is. I do know some people are haters of the second Glass Beach album. I am not. That shit is so fucking good. It feels like an evolution of the first album. It feels like it's going new places and in new directions, and most of all, and most importantly, probably, it feels like it is doing what the band wants it to do. And again, an album that you can listen and feel every second that was poured into every song. Every second of audio was meticulously crafted and and sculpted, and that shines through in the final product, absolutely, in my opinion.
All I want to say about Glass Beach is like they're one of the two artists that I respect more than everybody in the sense that they said it is unsafe to tour in the world today. It's Glass Beach and fucking Adele, and there's nobody else. And that's not me being like, I do not believe that's me being like edgy or like inconsiderate of anybody else who has to tour to eat. I understand. I am so sorry the world at large decided that your safety and health was not important. And someday, like, we'll fix this. But like, I appreciate like Glass Beach saying, I can't do this in good faith if like I'm practicing what I preach. And we really could do something in this industry if all of just like the indie alts like hipster world said, actually, I think I'd rather like not be like immunocompromised over the next 4 years. Respectfully. So. That's all I want to say about that.
Funny you should mention that. That one might circle around when it comes later down the list. But moving along, number 7, I have Winter Wheat by John K. Sampson. John K. Sampson is the lead singer of the Weaker Thans, and people have said that Winter Wheat has so much collaboration with the other members that it may as well be the 4th Weaker Thans album. It came out in 2012, and holy fuck. Singer, like, in terms of living songwriters, John K. Sampson may be my favorite / the best.
Wow.
Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say that his songwriting is it literally like feels like it's a league above everybody else, more or less. And also it has really good bangers. There's literally a song that is a sequel song to a Neil Young song from 30 years ago, and it's so good. And it doesn't call that out at all. It only works if you know the Neil Young song first, and you're like, wait a second, this is like a sequel or like about the same shit. Anyway, number 6, I have Radiator by Saturn. That's Saturn with a D, like you're sad. That is another Philly slowcore sort of country adjacent band. That album fundamentally, I think, rewired my brain in a way. It came out in 2022, and it just, some of the songwriting and all of the sonic production is just incredibly good. If you like that genre at all, go listen to that, and see them live if you can. I saw them live last year, and they were really fucking good. Any band that'll take a pedal steel on stage, I immediately respect as a live performer, like immediately.
As a labor of love.
Yep. At number 5, I have Possession by Joywave. I don't know if Joywave is very well known in sort of the DIY space, but they are a Rochester, New York band. I got into them through my partner. They are really fucking good. It's kind of like, I guess, electronic pop rock, indie rock type stuff. But it's really good. Possession specifically came out in 2020, and it was written very clearly in the context of the Trump administration. Shout out to the first song on the album, Like a Kennedy. Holy shit. That song fucks me up a lot. But every song on the album is basically a straight banger. Especially the first side is like all killer, no filler. And it is incredibly and unfortunately prescient in our current political moment because of all of that context. At number 4, I have...
Before we move on, I just want to say, it's so cool that, like, because I only know, like, Joywave via that single they had in 2013 with Big Data, Dangerous.
Yep.
And, like, that was, like, a song I heard when I was working at that CD store. And, like, something about that song never left my head. And I'm so happy to see, like, if you're a one-hit wonder, you can go one of two ways. Like, you can let it kind of ruin your career, or you can, like, use basically all the money you're going to make from that song to do what you actually want to do.
Yeah. And that's I think what they've done. I don't think they actually make very much money anymore from that, but like they still play Dangerous at every show, and I would definitely recommend checking out the song Fear from Possession, because it feels to me like it's sort of in the same mode as Dangerous, and it's really fucking good.
Awesome.
Number 4, I have On the Beach by Neil Young, which is why I knew what that John K. Samson song was referencing.
Wow.
This is an album. There's a lot of really interesting context on this album. If you ever have listened to the podcast Cocaine and Rhinestones, A History of Country Music, there's a really good breakdown of the creation of that album. Not because it's a country album. It's not. It's a rock album. But go check out that podcast anyway. But also just a really incredibly incredible album, incredibly sequenced. The Wurlitzer e-piano sound on Sky About to Rain is one of the most beautiful things I've heard in my entire life, and has made getting a Wurlitzer 100A on my like bucket list, even though they cost like $4,000 fucking dollars, and I cannot afford that shit. That's like 4 months. That's like a lot of months of rent for me. Like, yeah, but like, oh my god, incredible album. And the last song, Ambulance Blues, is another like 8-minute long song. Fucking great song, fucking great album. Number 3, I have the Precure album by Kemoy. You know what I'm talking about. This album is fucking incredible. If you don't like ska, then fuck you. And also go listen to this album, because it'll make you like ska.
Big shout out to Catbite, just in general, for that.
Big shout out to Catbite.
And Catbite too, yeah.
Yeah. Incredible album. Talk about like capital C concept albums. This is like one of the ones to do it the absolute best, and just it gets better every time I listen. I can't listen to this while I'm cleaning because I'll end up like dancing really hard and then getting exhausted after 5 minutes. I do not have the aerobic capacity for being a ska fan, but you know, here we are.
Oh, I know the feeling. Gosh, do I.
Like at that Jer show, I literally skanked for like one song and I was like, holy shit, I'm fucking dying. I need to sit down.
Like, now I see why Jared's vegan, because like, how else can you play ska shows? Respectfully.
Jesus Christ. Honestly, even with that, how like being vegan, how do you get the calories to make up for that shit?
Right, I must be eating like 5 meals a day just to like keep up.
Literally. All right, and then number 2, I have Home Video by Lucy Dacus. Shout out again, you know, we were talking about Lucy Dacus earlier, but this album, Jesus Christ, ruins me every time. The nostalgia, the sonic palette, all of the songs are fucking great. A lot of the songs are really transcoded if you listen to them. Shout out Cartwheel, shout out Triple Dog Dare.
Wow, Triple Dog Dare. Wow.
She used to open her shows with Triple Dog Dare. I was like, what a
during that era. Like, wow.
What a fucking move. Yeah,
she's that girl, respectfully.
Incredible. Incredible shit. Great album. And then, okay, now I have number 1 ready. Ready when you are.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Number 1, I have Twin Fantasy 2018 by Car Seat Headrest. I am an unapologetic. I am a unapologetic Car Seat Headrest fan. I don't care if it's cringe.
It's not though.
I know people act like it is.
Headrest is an actual rock star.
No, he is, and like the songwriting is incredible. The reference to his influences and like the harmonies. This album, by the way, is I've tracked through. I've followed the threads of my life, and this album is indirectly responsible for me becoming trans, because as I was a fan of this album, and then I got on Twitter, and then I got on the Car Seat Headrest style of Twitter, and then that put me in certain connections with different parts of the DIY Twitter, and then that put me in contact with a lot of trans people, and then are like, wow, these trans people are really cool. I wonder why I keep following them. Uh,
I wonder.
yeah, no idea, no fucking idea.
Certainly can't be connected in any sort of way. Nah.
No, probably a
Hmm.
coincidence, you know. Whatever.
Am I the only straight person in this room?
The answer was no, as it turns out.
Wait, so is this the album where homie is like, you have no right to be depressed? You don't know how it feels yet?
No, that was fuck. What's the name of that album? I'm stupid. Teens of Denial. Which
Okay, because
was
hearing that, I'm like, this motherfucker has a pen. Who the
oh
fuck is writing a lyric like that?
no, that album is also incredible in its own right, but this one, I don't know. This one, like the themes around it, I won't get into because there's a lot of lore, but like holy shit. And as we were talking about earlier, the first thing that got me into this album, it was the vocal harmonies. I literally, what happened was, I was at a party one night in college, and one of my friends was like fucked up, having a hard time mentally. So we went for a drive in his
Oh,
car to like go get McDonald's or something, right? With one of my other friends, and he was playing this album in the front seat, and I was like, "Listen, I know you're having like a really hard mental moment right now, but please tell me what song this is. This is so fucking good." And that's literally how I got into it. Like hearing the background harmonies on "Nervous Young and Humans" made me trans. That is an incontrovertible fact of the universe.
wow. That's fucking sick.
Uh, no, it's so funny. Anyway, also, I'm going to circle back to this. Speaking of bands who are not touring because of COVID, in 2021, no,
Oh, I think I know what you're going to
2022.
say. I think I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Here's an interesting story about me. In 2022, the pandemic was like starting to ease up, quote unquote. You'll see that in a bit, but live music was happening for the first time again. So me and my partner set up a fun weekend one weekend in April. We were going to go up to Washington D.C. to see Joywave for the first time live, and then we were going to drive down to Asheville, North Carolina, which is near where I live, to see Car Seat Headrest live. And I actually had Car Seat Headrest tickets for 2020 in June, and they canceled it for obvious reasons.
Yes.
So we went up to the Joywave show. We took the train, Amtrak up to DC. It was a really fun time. They have really good vegan food up there.
Cool.
And then we went down to Asheville, and like we were in an Airbnb. And then I started to feel kind of weird, kind of sick, and I was like, oh fuck. And I tested, and I had COVID. So we left the Airbnb, and we told the host like, don't watch out when you're cleaning this place. And we went home, and I was sick as a dog for a week. But so I didn't get to see Car Seat Headrest then. But the reason why I didn't get to see them isn't because I was sick. It was because the lead singer, Will Toledo, got COVID. And that was the first show they canceled was that Asheville show. They announced the night before, I think it was, that they were canceling it. And I was already sick. And I was like, that's really fucked up, huh? And what I don't know about, if a lot of people know, Will got long COVID. It fucked his health up really bad for like 4 years. And I think he's starting to maybe get better, but like they have not toured since then because of that.
I didn't know it was the long version. I'm tripping.
And yeah, and it's like, I don't know if you can really count that as like them not touring for COVID reasons because of, they don't want to spread it or whatever, but like they literally cannot tour for COVID reasons because the lead singer got it and it fucked everything up. So like all this to say, wear a fucking mask, I guess. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
before we get started, it's like that's the list. Holy shit, you have a very I love how stacked the list is. Real quick, I gotta send this text to I mentioned to you off stream that when I leave, I have to go interview this artist, and I'm like, we have at least another 45 minutes in us. I already can tell. Do you want to push back to 5:30? Is what I'm about to text her. Like, I am so sorry. I'm just letting you know now. Like, we're cooking in here, and this dish is not complete. Would 5:30 still work for you? Send. Okay, I wanted to make sure I sent it right at 3 because I'm like, yesterday I'm like, oh, I'll text her at 3:30. No problem. We'll be done by then. Part 2 of the freaking live stream. We're still going strong. Let's see how fast we can do this. I don't know. There are 60 albums on the top 100 list still standing. If like ones that have been pulled off come up while you're like picking your picks, I'll let you know. 10 come down, 10 go back up. Right off the top of your head, I hope you have like a tab with like the album list available to you.
Yep, I got it.
Super. So like, what's jumping out at you in regard? Do you need me to run through the ones that have been taken down real quick one more time?
Yeah, do that because I have a tentative list, but I might have forgot some of the ones you mentioned.
Okay. So yeah, so take notes. Scroll along if you like. For the record, since we've begun this process, me and the homies, we have taken off Travis Scott, Kraftwerk, Arctic Monkeys, Erykah Badu, Guns N' Roses, Drake, Kanye, Radiohead, Beyonce, Nas, Stevie Wonder, Taylor Swift, Dr. Dre, Beatles, The Rolling Stone, Prince, Led Zeppelin, Rihanna, Tupac, The Smiths, Neil Young, Robin, Revolver, more Beatles, Carole King, Patti Smith, Burial, The Cure, Björk, Joni Mitchell, Outkast, Bob Marley, Kate Bush, Lorde, Radiohead again, Casey Musgraves, Oasis, Talking Heads, Steely Dan, and let me pull the whole thing up here. And SZA and the Strokes.
Okay.
What has to come down today?
Let's see. I'm gonna to pull back the curtain for our viewers a little bit.
Do that.
Let me quickly reveal that I'm actually really bad at listening to like the canon of art that you're supposed to listen to.
Same.
So there's a lot of these albums I've never heard. So a lot of this is going to be vibes based exclusions. And on that subject, Madonna, you're fucking out of here. What are you doing? What are we doing here?
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Let's see. Should I just keep running through here?
Oh yes.
Okay. On a similar, I don't know, similar note, but let's see. I know Adele. You know, she's a wonderful woman. She's a great singer. No thanks.
Adele.
Goodbye. I feel like this again is kind of cheating because I probably would, like I said, put Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde in the top 100, but I like Highway 61 Revisited is not really for me, so I'm going to kick him out, and if he doesn't make it back on from my list, well, that things happen. Yeah,
not as your uncle.
There's tragedies happen. Beastie Boys,
whatever.
I
know Living Construction is gonna be upset, but like it's okay. It's okay.
People are allowed to be upset at me. I've never claimed to have good taste. I only have the taste that is mine, that was given to me by my life and circumstances, and also the fact that I'm petty and a hater and I don't do any research. Also,
hey,
the
Eagles.
American,
all right. Ooh, Eagles! Damn, cooked.
Like, the Eagles are fine. They're fine. They're okay. That's my opinion. They don't deserve to be on this list.
My ex-boyfriend is seething somewhere.
Let's see. Similar vibe. U2.
Oh,
no
yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I listen. I actually do like the Joshua Tree. Okay, I probably would rank it maybe somewhere in my top 100. not 50, but like also no, actually, no thanks. It's
They have
fine.
been feeling the vibe check recently.
Oh, they've been feeling the vibe check for like for like 25 years at least.
You're a real ball knower. I appreciate that, Eminem.
remember when they put that album on everyone's iPods?
Great. I'm sorry. I hate to be that girl. I like some of those songs a lot. I really, really do.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it was kind of fucked up to put it on everyone's album against on everyone's iPod against their will.
Yeah, it
You
could have
know
been for free. It could have been for free if they're really about shit.
exactly. Like Radiohead did it for free, and also I'm not that big of a radio fan either. But like this is gonna rewind to a previous long tangent we did. But Coldplay is better than Radiohead. Let's just be clear about that.
Oh wow! Like so, okay, we can't get lost here. I just want to state for the record. I only don't listen to Radiohead now because of Johnny Greenwood and Tom York being shitheads about Palestine. Because
That's fair.
had they been on the right side of history, I would strongly disagree. I feel as though I feel like they're able to go more cerebral in a way that like is inaccessible to Coldplay, as far as I'm personally concerned.
That's very fair. I just I've tried to get into Radiohead before. It's the type of thing I should like, especially like I know Will from Car Seat Headrest takes a lot of inspiration from them too. But like every time I try to get into Radiohead, I just bounce off of it. I don't know.
Hey, and that to me says all that I need to hear in regards to it's. I kind of feel like it's kind of like anime. It's like if the first like I don't know 2 episodes don't hook you, if you're not like emotionally compelled to keep watching, move on. It's not you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like it's like to their discredit, like it is pretentious, but like as a person who feels her feelings so hard, like Pyramid Song still like rings bells in my mind, but no longer in my iPod. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I love pretentious shit. This is what I'm saying. Like by all objective metrics, I should like Radiohead, but I listen to it and I just don't. I don't know. It just doesn't. You know that part of your brain that gets strummed when that happens. When you hear the thing and the thing makes your brain go. Brrr, and like it just doesn't do that for me, and I don't know why. But I can't pretend I do.
It's for the best. It's for the best.
That's for the best.
You get 4 more from me. Give me 4 more.
4 more. I'm kicking off Burial at number 10 on
Burial's already out.
Oh shit. Okay. Can I kick off Eminem?
Yeah, totally. Oh shoot. Wait. I lost you on mics. Oh no, this would happen to us at the very end. Give us like 2 minutes, people.
Okay.
Why
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes, I got you.
Okay. Sorry,
for sure.
My earbuds died.
It's okay.
Okay. Eminem, we kicked off, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's fine.
All right.
Speaks for itself.
Yep, that it does. I'm gonna kick off. I feel bad about this, but I'm gonna kick off Billie Eilish if she's still on there.
It's the first record, and that's my least favorite record, so I'm with you on that. Strong singles. I just want to say for the record, it's so funny to me that the Grammys didn't give her shit this time around, when arguably this most recent work is her best shit, at least from an outsider's perspective.
That is true. But I also think she was very thankful for that, because every time they give her Grammy, she's like, please don't. Let's not, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I feel like while that is true, she also probably felt some kind of reprieve on it. And I'm like, I can't argue with that. And then I have 2 more?
2
more. Let me look. I had to switch up the list last minute because of ones other people already take.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm taking off Portishead, I suppose, if it's still there.
It is actually.
Yeah. Did you say they took off Metallica already?
They didn't actually.
Now I did. Fuck you.
Hey!
All right.
Shout out to Lars.
Shout out to Lars.
Okay, then like here's our final part before we say good evening to all of our friends, all of our new friends, past and present. You get to put 10 in. What are you thinking?
Okay, well, working down my own top 10, I'm gonna put in Twin Fantasy. I'm gonna put in Home Video. I'm putting in the Precure album. I am gonna put back in On the Beach by Neil Young. That is.
You're gonna put back. We're gonna put what? You're gonna put what back in?
On the Beach by Neil Young. I know it was a different album.
I see. Okay.
But he's back in now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of just running down my top 10 here. But you know, I stand by it actually.
Okay.
I'm putting in Possession by Joywave. Radiator by Saturn. Winter Wheat by John K. Sampson. Then Plastic Death by Glass Beach. Wait, how many have I done so far?
You get 2 more.
2 more. I think I love Hey I Loathe You to Death, but I do feel like it's a little too recent to put on the list.
That's fair.
So I'm going to skip down a bit.
Okay.
I'm going to put on The Singing Mailman Delivers by John Prine on there.
Okay.
And then
last choice.
For my final pick, so much pressure. I'm dying. In terms of great albums
of all time.
Yeah.
According to you.
According to me. That's worse because now it speaks to my entire thing. I think I will put on it's like the last one. The last one has all the pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on Ghost by Radical Face.
Okay.
And the reason why is just because of the way it does the way it conducts itself as an album. I think deserves to be in that top 100.
Okay.
That is my take.
Yo, look at us finishing the show with 15 minutes to spare. I'm your friend, Chris Kennard. That's my new friend, Emily. There we go. 2am wakeupcall.com. Take a look, buy something, favorite the site, share with a friend. It's the least you can do for us. Calls to action, because like I have got to get out of here. Drink more water, stay hydrated, hydrate or dihydrate. We said it earlier. Please, please, please wear a mask when you go outside. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your friends, protect the children, protect the immunocompromised. Over your nose, under your mouth. Try and get a high quality one. Wildfires, bird flu, COVID-19, like a cold. Like, don't fuck around and get pneumonia in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I haven't gotten.
Like
I don't think I've gotten a cold since 2020. Just to say, like, being sick sucks, and you can actually stop it from happening. So do that.
And if you see a motherfucker wearing a "Make America Healthy Again" hat, go the opposite direction. I joke, but like, I'm not fucking with none of that shit. No siree, Bob. I have 3 more things to say. Firstly, you're gonna like get up from this stream. You're gonna like, you know, get up and pee, maybe like floss, brush your hair or something like that. You're gonna look yourself dead in the eye and when you see yourself in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself. Even if it's hard, I understand. Trust me. If you can't do it, I understand. Trust me. Please know that me and Emily like love you in the most like platonic and supportive way possible. Hate will burn you out, but love will keep you around. It's Black History Month, so pay reparations to a Black person. I'll just come out and say it. I have like a $600 bill that I didn't know that I had until 2 days ago because I forgot that since I contribute less to my health insurance via my job, they increased like the payment 100 times. I used to pay like $60 to go to the urgent care. Now I pay like $600. Damn, I'll figure it out eventually. But if you'd like to help out, you know where to find it. It's in the description. And if you don't want to like give money to me, there are plenty of folks out there from my diaspora, from my community that really need your support. Like, listen to Black people, pay Black people that you listen to, read the books, listen to the music, like talk to your fucking neighbors. And finally, this is in regards to both of us, with no irony, no silliness, like complete seriousness. Death before detransition. Take your HRT.
Transition.
Like, if you can't get it by conventional means, get off the internet, like connect with your community and like spread information safely. Like at some point, we're going to have to get off Google. We're going to have to get off YouTube. We're going to have to get off Meta. Like by the end of 2025, if you're not off Meta, you're playing with your safety. And I'm being so fucking serious. I don't want to leave Instagram or Threads, especially now that I already deactivated my Twitter. But we have to take care of one another. I wasn't joking when I said they're burning the books. Like the guys who like control like the country, they are not well. And I don't like need to be ableist when I say that. These are not wise or like dependable people, but they are running on hate, and hate is the flavor of the day. And they get a lot. They don't necessarily get shit done, but people are getting hurt, and like we really need to have each other's backs. So please, if you don't listen to a single fucking song from this stream, please just keep being your most authentic self. And if you're not sure how to do that, extend a hand out for help. Like Fred fucking Rogers said it best: look for the helpers. And like if you're my age and if like you're a millennial, now you're the fucking helpers. We can't rely on these Gen Xers. We can't fucking rely on these boomers. Gen A, like the Gen A is being born, and Gen Z, like they're just getting started. They need a little bit more time. We have to give them support that they deserve. Don't make any fucking excuses. Like, if you really can't hang and bang, I completely understand. But say it right the fuck now so you can take care of yourself and take care of the others around you. Anything else?
Just in the same theme as what you're saying. If there is information that you need specifically relating to trans care and dosing and stuff, write it down, print it out, and copy that shit 1,000,000 times.
Pass it along. Like these motherfuckers who hate us, who hate the trans community, who hate the queer community, like they're very loud, and like again, they don't have any sort of plan. But like those who are just kind of like lurking in the shadows, keep your eyes peeled, keep looking over your shoulder, and like communicate with one another. Like it is okay to be afraid. Like it's like fear is real, but like anger is also a gift. And when we get angry, they lurch back. They're not used to us. Like they're not used to like the marginalized. Like they do everything in their power to keep the marginalized from like standing together because they can't fuck with us. That's why they like go through all like these. That's why the Republicans went 50 fucking years trying to like get Roe v. Wade turned over. They're like, we have to like. They knew that like these motherfucking Democrats weren't paying attention, and so if they won't keep paying attention, we have to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck knows what we're gonna be in a year from now? But if we're both still here, let's talk about it. Okay?
Sounds good to me.
I am so happy you got to be here. 2 a.m. Wake Up Club once again, everybody. Shout out to Living Abstraction all the way from motherfucking Africa. I love you so much, babe. Don't come home unless you have a better job than me. Otherwise, stay in the sun where it's warm, because then I'm gonna come see you. Shout out to my friend all the way out in Seattle. Oh, like I love y'all so much. That's it. This isn't goodbye. It's not even farewell. I'll see you again sometime. Hopefully in March. It's been a pleasure. Godspeed. We're out. Say bye, Emily.
Bye, Emily.
That's a good one. We're keeping that.